Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of WTF What? The Footy. Couple of Yanks shooting blanks about Australian rules football. This is episode 22 for August 3rd, 2026. I'm rushing through the intro because the gentleman on the right side of your screen, semi-retired, fully professional writer for the Pittsburgh Tribune Review, and as you can see, noted and unabashed Carlton Blues fan Joe Rutter. This guy wants to get this show on the road. And why would that be, Joe? Why are you in such a hurry to get this show started?
Well, it might be because we'll be talking about my team a little bit today, I guess. And
really? Really? Why is that?
I know we like to cover the AFL as a whole and the inner workings of what happened in the week, but Carlton has become such a big story that I'm afraid, again, you can't talk about it enough, and I think it will dominate our conversation again. And I just, I can't be happier for my team after the 1-8 start to turn it around, go 9-2 under Josh Frazier, be in wild card spot with 3 weeks to go. It's a great time to be a Blues fan.
And Joe, I got to tell you, this story has come out of nowhere. No, it hasn't. We've been talking about this for 10 weeks now.
Yeah.
This is the biggest story in the league, and it only got bigger. 154-78 over the reigning, defending, two-time premiers?
Unbelievable. I knew they could keep
what? The Footy?
What the Footy is right. I knew they could keep it close. Thought they had a chance to win, but to win by 70-some points, no, I don't think anybody ever saw that coming. And It's stunning, but it just shows, hey, and they needed it too because they got to get that percentage up in case they get into a tiebreaker. So they needed to pour on the points, and it was a great win. And like I said, I can't be happier.
Well, what I think is kind of funny about the percentages is they've had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity in the last 6 to 8 weeks to pile it on to maybe some lesser teams, and they really didn't do that. They decided to do it. They picked Brisbane to do it again. So I just think that's hilarious.
Yeah, and it just shows you, for as good as Brisbane is, they're known for second half lapses at times. That Greater Western third quarter, and this whole second half against Carlton, they just weren't there, and Carlton just steamrolled them in the second half. 16 players scored goals, which tied a league record. Couldn't get Patrick Cripps in there to make it the 17th player.
They tried.
They did. They tried. They moved him up to forward at the end.
He had a shot.
Even scored. Yeah. So it's really looking good for Carlton going in these last 3 weeks. Obviously, we'll talk later about the big game they got coming up against St. Kilda.
Yeah,
probably the game of the week for both teams, the game of the season.
I would think
for those, and just an exciting time.
We are going to talk about other things this week, but I mean, it has to go without saying that this story, which has been building since the dismissal of Michael Voss, with a team that was, as Joe said, 1-8, to now find themselves with 3 weeks left in the home and away in the 10th spot.
Yep.
I'm not going to say in the driver's seat yet, because there are still significant challenges, and we will outline those here in a few minutes. But this is a much better position going into that St. Kilda game, being in 10th than being in 11th.
Yeah, because they didn't want to be behind them or tied with them for points, because any slip up because of the percentage they could lose out on. So they needed to get ahead of them, and if they beat them this week, you're 2 full games ahead with 2 games to play. So you're looking pretty good there. They really needed that, and St. Kilda lost, which opened the door for that. I mean, St. Kilda, they really stuck with it and almost pulled off the upset, but St. Kilda ended up losing, and that cracked the door for Carlton, and the Blues took advantage.
And don't forget, Greater Western's still out there too.
Yeah.
So just another thing for Carlton fans to think about. And we'll take a look at their schedule too. But let's do our time-honored tradition, if you can call it time-honored in 22 episodes.
Yes.
But our time-honored tradition of Victory Song of the Week, which you would think would have been obvious, except you had West Coast playing Richmond this week, and West Coast is the only team we have yet to feature. And Joe and I had a discussion about this. Okay, Because Carlton happened, Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Richmond West Coast was Sunday morning here in the States. And we had a discussion. All right, what if they both win? What are we going to do? Well, as it turns out, our friends at Richmond, the Tigers, and as 478 Twitter accounts described along with ours, got off the bottom. They beat West Coast, making this week's victory song of the week as obvious as anything.
Yes. And
for the first time since week 11.
Here we go.
We are the Navy Blues. We are the old dark Navy Blues. We're the team that never lets you down. We're the only team old Carlton knows. With all the champions they like to send up, we'll keep our end up, and they will know that they've been playing against the famous old dark Blues.
Imagine being a Lion and having this ringing in your ears. And I gotta tell you, I'd forgotten the lack of energy in this version, because given the situation and given the not only the victory but the margin of victory, you almost want to make the locker room rendition the official song for that week, because it's going at 300 miles an hour, but it matches the energy of the evening, I would think.
Yeah, and as you noted, it's the fastest you've heard anybody go through a song this year.
Oh, yeah.
Through it, and they were so excited.
Oh, my God. They were so jacked.
Yeah, and that they fired through that pretty quick. And, it was a fun thing to watch. No harmonica this time. But,
no. I'm sure a lot of I don't even know if they were in their right minds when they got into the locker room. I mean,
I'm sure they were.
There can't be anybody on that side that could have envisioned a win like that. And we talk. Well, you know what? I'll save that for the next coming up graphic. I was just going to say, we talked about, last week we looked at their last 4 games and we said, okay, they got to go 2-2 at least, but they got to get one of the big ones, either Brisbane or Freo. And even though we said, well, it's probably got to be Brisbane, I don't know if I really believe that they could have pulled it off. So, but anyway, we will also get into that. Here's our updated victory song of the week list. There you go, Carlton. Team remaining West Coast, and I don't know.
We might not get them in this year.
I'll tell you what, unless I don't know their last 3, but I don't think it's that easy. And I know they're not going to have a better opportunity than they had this past weekend against the Tigers.
Yeah,
I think that is, and I'll tell you what, and I've been an Eagles supporter since the beginning because nobody thought they'd win a game. They've won 4 this year. For all intents and purposes, given their preseason opinion, they've done pretty well this year. They've hung in games. But I'll tell you what, I saw some of the pictures and some of the video of the Eagles coming off the field, and they looked absolutely devastated by that loss.
Yeah, and they had reason to feel that way. They're a young up and coming team. They've lost 8 in a row now. They're 4-16. You thought maybe not they were going to get to 500, but they had a chance to win a few more games there, and they just haven't gotten it done lately. And to be beaten up, and lose that game to Richmond, to help Richmond get out of wooden spoon territory.
Yeah,
it was disheartening for West Coast. But and it shows all the good they've done with the young players. They've still got a good ways to go.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's a very, very good point. And I don't think there was any doubt that after Richmond took care of business that Adelaide would do their part. And they did. They spanked the Bombers in the last game of the weekend. Essendon back at the bottom. They have the spoon with 3 weeks to go. As you can see, down to 53 days now until the grand final at the MCG on September 26th. That's the last weekend of that month. We are under 2 months now to the grand final. If you go to the next one, because, we're keeping track, 39 days until the NFL comes to Melbourne, till the NFL comes to town. Rams, Niners, an NFC West clash. It's not like it's a game that doesn't mean anything. It's the opener for both teams. It's a division game, division rivals. And you see at the bottom, the Vic teams that are still involved that may put a little bit of a wrench in some of these things. And Joe, if I'm not mistaken, you told me that we had a little bit of a criticism for our coverage of this.
Well, yeah,
yes.
One of our readers said that they're going to play a game in the semifinals that week. They'll play one Friday, one Saturday, and since this game takes place on a Thursday, it's not a big deal, and they'll have quick time to turn it around. I don't know. All I knew was when they announced the schedule, they seemed to be in a panic about getting the field turned around in time to have a potential playoff game. And hey, maybe they don't. Maybe they only have one on Saturday there. Maybe they don't have one both days. But either way, the grounds crew is going to have some work to do.
They'll have some work to do. And you're right. It was the first thing that came up. Why are you scheduling the NFL invasion? That's our term, not anybody else's. Just to be clear. The NFL invasion, why are you scheduling it during the finals? What are you doing? And I also think I take the criticism of our reader. His point is valid. I get that. I don't think he understands, though, the turnover from going from an NFL field back to a footy field. I'm pretty sure there's a lot more that goes into that, if only because they're going to make sure that NFL field is absolutely pristine. For that ball game on Thursday, meaning they've got a lot of removal to do to get themselves right for Friday. And I'm not sure people understand that.
Well, and also, NFL may ask them, because it's an oval stadium, they may ask to put temporary seating in to get fans closer to the sidelines.
See, I sincerely doubt that's going to happen. Because I think that makes undue risk to the playing surface. I mean, you're already going to get 100,000 people in there. Yeah, now, I'm not saying there aren't greedy people out there who says, "Hey, let's put 2,000 more seats in this baby, get ourselves 103,000 people. Wouldn't that be great?" Cha-ching, 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 cha-ching.
Yeah,
I'm not doubting that, but honestly, I would be shocked. I mean, I think it's enough that they're going just to have ground cover over the playing surface to accommodate the sidelines and the medical tents and all the stuff that is involved on an NFL sideline. I think they're already going to have enough problem with that. So as far as turnover goes, I just don't understand how this can be an easy thing for the grounds crew at MCG. I have all the faith in the world. I have absolute confidence in their abilities. I think the footy field that you get after this NFL game will be pristine. But like you just said, I don't think it's going to be very easy.
No, I don't think it is either. And actually, it might be more of a challenge setting it up than tearing it down. Getting to Thursday from the previous week might be a little tougher for the AFL and the NFL to get this thing set up than actually stripping it down and getting it switched back over for an AFL game.
I'm hoping that during the teardown, they have anticipated all the problems that they might have as far as trampled ground and what they have to do to get themselves whole again.
Yeah.
To host in all possibility really important round in the finals.
Yes.
Not that any of them are not important. But as you get deeper into September, and this is preaching to the choir, as you get deeper into September, those are pretty important games you're playing.
Yeah, and this I believe it's for a spot. This will be for a spot in the preliminary finals. So
right,
it's a very important game that they're going to be playing there.
Yeah,
to
you're going to the Final Four. Yeah, not to Americanize it, but you're going to the Final Four.
Yeah.
Speaking of teams qualifying.
Whoa!
Hey! How's the music go?
I wish
I heard it last night. This is our homage.
Yes.
To WWE SummerSlam Night 2. was last night. Night 1 on Saturday, night 2 on Sunday, and Sunday night here in the East, the United States of America. And of course, that's Danhausen, who was victorious in his human monies on a pole match against Dirty Dom Mysterio. And so I thought, hey, let's get Danhausen in the graphics package. And so you are qualified, Hausen. And we had 3 more qualifiers this past weekend. Brisbane, Melbourne, and Adelaide joined Fremantle, Hawthorn, and Sydney. You can also see on that list. Oh, by the way, the notes, these aren't listed the way they are in the ladder. It's how they qualified. Yes. So even though,
Sydney's
Adelaide is above Melbourne in the ladder, it was Melbourne that qualified first. Yes, Adelaide had the last game of the weekend. Okay, we got that straight. And also, I got to tell you, it looks like the logo on this version is okay, but the one on my screen is all messed up. And I think it's because I am cursed.
Maybe you are cursed.
Geelong.
As long as this podcast isn't cursed.
Yeah, well, I think that's up for debate every week,
that's right.
Actually. Geelong, the Bulldogs, and Collingwood should qualify this week. Let's see. Geelong's got the Bombers. I think the Bulldogs might have the toughest time because they got the Roos. They got North Melbourne. Yeah. Collingwood, if I'm not mistaken, has Richmond.
Maybe. I haven't looked that far ahead. Yeah.
No. I'm sorry. No, they have West Coast. They have the Eagles this week.
Okay.
So even though the Eagles are stinging, I don't know if the Pies are going to have much trouble with the Eagles this time. But as far as teams that have been qualifying, you're looking at that Collingwood squad, and we're going to talk about them a little bit because we're going to – I almost gave it away. We're going to talk about them a little bit because they were riding high, and then they ran into Freo.
Yeah.
And I think – I don't know. I got kind of a different opinion about Freo this week after what they did to Collingwood, especially in that second half. And we'll talk a little bit about that. Western, they got humbled a little bit.
That was Western and Freo. Collingwood was
I'm sorry, you're right. Western and Freo.
Yeah.
And Geelong looks good all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Geelong looks great.
Yeah.
Geelong looks amazing.
No Jeremy Cameron, no big deal.
Yeah, who cares? All right, so the race for 10th. We're not doing any predictions. This is just straightforward race for 10th. There you see the greatest story of the 2026 footy season. Sitting there in 10th place, the Carlton Blues. Percentage still under 100, but they gained what? 4.5?
I think so. They gained
something like that. 4.5 points this week with that incredible blowout.
And they're going to need a blowout again if they want to really cut that deficit. I mean,
and you know what? That's going to be a rough game this week against St. Kilda to get a blowout. I mean, I think you're just happy coming out with 4 points.
I think so too.
But this is, I mean, with apologies to Freo Sydney a couple weeks ago, I mean, this is the game of the year.
Yeah.
This is the game of the year, and I can just hear the geezers. I can hear the geezers already. I can't believe you think this is the game of the year. It's only for 10th place, and 10th place doesn't deserve a finals berth. Never in the history of this league, I would guess, has there been as much excitement over a game for 10th place as this one. Yes, I realize things are a little different this year, but still, this is the playoff chase that everybody enjoys every year. Who cares if it's for 7th and 8th place rather than 9th or 10th place or 11th place?
Well, and that's the thing too. Your 8th place team right now has 48 points. If this was last year's rules, Carlton would need a miracle to qualify for the playoffs.
Yeah.
It would have muted what we've said the biggest story of the year is their resurgence. with the extra playoff teams, that has helped make this such a great story that it is. And I think that's why it's good to have these two extra, this wild card round, these two extra teams in, because you get the 10th. Say Carlton gets the 10th spot. Who's going to want to play them in the first round?
Nobody.
So
nobody.
It's a great story. And I think if you had the old system in place, it wouldn't be nearly as interesting, because they would really just be playing for pride at the end, realistically knowing they would need a miracle to make that 8 points up to get that 8th spot.
And you can see where we're saying Carlton needs this one this week, because the doggies is that's going to be a rough game. Frio, no matter what happens, I think whether they rest people or not, that's going to be a rough game. Yeah. You look at St. Kilda's schedule. If they get that win this weekend and finish with Richmond and Gold Coast, I mean, they can really get a stranglehold on 10th place. Yeah, and don't forget about Greater Western Sydney, because they get a couple wins going into that final week. I mean, they could conceivably have 44 points in this thing. So, I mean, there are 3 teams really going for this last spot, and that's what the league wanted, and it's what fans want, and it's what you want. You want the most fan bases involved at this time of year, and that's exactly what the AFL has. I would think.
I would think so too. And even if you're a fan of North Melbourne and Gold Coast, one's lost. I don't know how many. It's been at least 5 for North. It's been 10 for Gold Coast.
Yeah,
they're sitting there still trying to get something from their season, and I don't see a problem with it at all. I think it's very entertaining for the fans, and I think it's a good thing to have.
What do you think St. Kilda's mindset is this week? They had a lead against Sydney for a half, and Sydney pulled their rope. I think rope-a-dope is probably the best way to describe the way they've been playing the second half of the season. What do you think their mindset is going into this game, knowing that they are now looking up at the Baggers?
I think they're going to be focused and determined. Hopefully they're healthy, and that doesn't become an excuse. But it's you got Tom DeKoning and Jack Silvani might not be playing. I'm not sure if he's definitely out, but he got hurt. But you've got some guys that left Carlton, went to St. Kilda, and they're playing them again for the second time this year. I know Carlton wants to avenge that earlier loss and help their playoff spot. But if you're St. Kilda, you're looking at this. You look at your schedule at the end of the year. You've got to win this one. You win this one, you put yourself in the driver's seat for the last 2 weeks, and that's why I think it's going to be, like I said, the game of the year. I think it's why it's going to be an entertaining round of footy.
And it's going to be easier for the Saints if Nasiah Wanganeen Malera.
Yes,
you got to give me something for getting that out.
That's good.
Nasiah the Messiah. It's a lot easier for this squad if he has another one of his monster games. So can I put you on the spot? I mean, who's going to be responsible for shadowing this guy this weekend?
That's a good question. And I don't know the inner workings of that and how that would be determined. If you're throwing again, my uneducated guess would be maybe Sam Walsh.
Yeah.
But I don't know who traditionally is viewed as because that's probably more of a midfielder type of guy. I don't think it's one of your defenders.
Yeah.
If it is, maybe it's Harry Dean, but he's still 1-4 in the back end. I don't know, but I guess Sam Walsh would come to mind. I could be completely wrong, but that's what I'll say.
Is Nasiah the number one concern?
Oh, it has
in the meetings this week. I mean, is he top of the blackboard? If not all of the blackboard?
I would say so. I don't think you just want to just say, "Oh, let him go get his, and we'll be fine keeping everybody else in check." Other teams have paid the price for that kind of thinking.
So St. Kilda and Carlton, the final game of the weekend. I mean, how awesome is that?
Mm-hmm.
There was no way when the schedule came out, the second half of the schedule came out, that you were going to see either of these teams doing a Thursday night footy or a Friday night footy. But I got to tell you, I think it's the next best thing. Just the anticipation all weekend, and the entire league with the eyes on this game being the final game of the weekend, I just think is part of the magic of this whole story altogether.
Yeah, it is, and it's it'll be the marquee game. Everybody will be paying attention, and as we know, that playoff picture will come a lot clearer. You definitely have GWS, North, and Gold Coast watching to see what happens because this could impact them as well. And if you're sitting right above them, Collingwood 6 points ahead of Carlton, but they'll be watching this one with interest as well.
Well, as we've said a couple times, anything can happen.
Yeah.
In this league from week to week. It is about as unpredictable. What was I? I was 7-2 last week in my tips.
Mm-hmm.
Back to 3-6 this week. I have to go back and check. Maybe I did sneak out 4-5, but I'm pretty sure I was 3-6 again.
Yeah.
Because it's just so unpredictable what's going on in this league from week to week.
Yeah, it really is.
All right, match to match time.
And
in addition to the graphic, we got Brett Summers up there.
And we got to get the song.
Oh, you got the music? Yeah. Match of the match with Gene Rayburn and Charles Nelson Riley. Now that I know how to spell his last name, Brett Summers working on that heater. Smoking was, preferred.
That was the beauty in the 70s. You can light them up and nobody said a thing about it.
Nobody gave a damn. Are you kidding? Nobody cares. All right, let's go to our first one.
Oh, low scoring affair here.
Well, yeah, this is kind of a sleeper.
9-8 after the first quarter.
After the first, see, your math is just fine, pal. Let me tell you something. You've done well the last couple of weeks to up your game.
Yeah,
look at this, tied at the half.
29-29. I think I know which game this is.
It's cracking.
Oh,
it's cracking, and then
your home team's starting to pull away a little bit.
Well, they hold the visitors.
Yeah,
to 3 minors
in the third. It's crazy.
Guess what happens?
Yeah, they go on.
Guess what happens? Domination.
Yep.
To end the contest.
We've seen this a few times before from this team.
Haven't we?
As we reveal them.
Haven't we?
Fremantle and Western.
Good Lord. Good Lord, the Dockers.
Yeah. Frio just put an end to anything there in the second half that it was going to be an upset and just steamrolled them.
Probably not a surprise the first quarter. Again, the Dogs, scrappy.
Mm-hmm.
Grinders of a team. 29-29 at the half. Right? And then Frio.
Too.
Yeah. And then the Dockers, as they have done time and time again, especially here in the second half, they make some adjustments. They go into lockdown. Game's over. Game's over, and they've got another win. They've got another win at home.
Didn't even need Wharfie time.
You know what? They haven't needed Wharfie time.
Yeah, I know.
That's what's scary about these guys.
Yeah, you had a 14-point lead going into the final quarter, and really, they just pulled away. It was just
impressive.
And for those of us that thought Western would keep it close and put a dollar on it, we did not fare well.
Was that not the tip to make, I'm guessing?
Yeah, that was not the tip to make. And here's your fact.
Yeah, this is what we're talking about. Their last 3 games.
Jeez.
They have completely locked it down in the second half. Now, I get Port and West Coast, okay? Mm-hmm. Maybe not the strongest of sides. I get that. But, like I said, the Dogs have been gritty all year. They are as gritty and a grinder team as you're going to have, on this ladder right now and probably in the finals. And to have that kind of response in the second half, ooh, woof. Woof is what you say. Really. That's right. Yeah. So we've been talking about this, and I finally made a graphic for it. It's the Frio Freight Train. Look at these point differentials. And, of course, the minus is that loss that broke their winning streak to Greater Western Sydney, which, by the way, was in Canberra, right?
That's right.
It was in a what we would call it, a third venue. It was not a true home and away. So that's the loss to Greater Western Sydney. But look at these, 38-28. 70, 37 this week. 37 after being tied at the half. One more game at Optus for Frio. But like we've been saying, I'm sorry, I don't mean to speak for you, Joe. Like I've been saying at least. These guys just keep chugging along. It's hard to see anybody that's really going to stop them.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, your club has them this week. I don't envy you there. They finished with Carlton, but could be resting players by then.
Yeah.
You've got Adelaide. Now you've got Melbourne and Frio at MCG this week. I would expect a nice crowd to come out.
I would hope so.
I would hope so too.
I would hope so. Frio with a win, of course, clinches the minor premiership outright.
Yeah.
They've got a 3-game lead on Sydney with 3 to play. They can finish no worse than second on the ladder. So it's not like they don't have anything to play for, right? I mean, I doubt the D's are going to find a Frio team that sleepwalks into the MCG. Speaking of fans, if you hit the next slide there, please, Joe.
Yes, sir.
They have been showing out for their boys. What's the capacity of Optus? 61,266. But as I was telling Joe, and again, we thank austadiums.com, they make a note that there are only 60,000 seats in Optus. So, 1,266 of you jokers are just going to have to stand.
That's right.
That's just all there is to it. But you look at these attendance figures. Solid 50s. Solid 50s to see the Dockers.
Mm-hmm.
And as you can see, this is their entire home schedule. Okay. Also, not listed on here was the game at Optus against West Coast, their rival, where they were the visiting team.
Uh-huh.
And I think that game pulled in 56,000. So you can say that's a rivalry game. You're probably going to get a lot of people anyway. That's true. I get that. But these attendance figures, pretty impressive for a Frio side that has just been absolutely dominant since, at least in the midway point of the season. I think they took over the top of the ladder, week 7 or week 8 or something like that?
Yeah.
And really, other than that hiccup against the Giants, even the Sydney game, they stiff-armed the Swans pretty good.
Yeah.
Hey, we're the best team on this ladder right now.
Yeah, and they've shown it and they've proven it by look at the win they had against Sydney there, just steamrolling teams and adding to that percentage. In case there's any, I don't think there's going to be a tie, but in case there is, they're just they're firing on all cylinders. And
I'll tell you what, they are something to behold right now, and they are going to be. I'm wondering how much finals pressure is going to play into the way they handle the postseason.
Yeah,
I'm really interested to see, because we don't have to watch footy very long to know that finals are a different animal altogether.
Yeah,
the pressure is ratcheted up, the expectations are ratcheted up. And there's going to be a lot of expectations on a Frio team that's only lost once this year, or I'm sorry, lost twice this year. They lost twice this year.
And you're going to try, if you're in that, fighting for positioning there. You don't want to be number 4 and get them in the first round.
You're
trying to get 2 or 3, trying to avoid that number 4 spot.
Yeah.
You
do have that double elimination backstop.
Yeah, you don't want to be 5. You'd rather be 4
but
than
still,
5. But yeah.
Exactly. You don't want to be the team that has to roll into Optus and get slapped around.
Yeah.
And then find yourself back into the relegation.
Yeah.
With the survivors of the 5, 6, 7, 8 matches. So we'll see. We'll see. Still impressive. Docker's still impressive. And, this victory and the way they handled it this past weekend, maybe as impressive as any win that they've had this year.
Yeah, it really was. Just the way they just put it together in the second half and said, you're not going to touch us. We're going to pull this away and do what we got to do.
Yeah, what was it? Melbourne, Adelaide, Carlton. That's the end of their year.
Yeah,
we'll see what kind of second half lockdown they do there. Okay, second game, a little more high scoring.
Yeah,
this game, maybe not a snowy snoozer, as Brent Wasco once said about a Steelers game. Brent Wasco, one of our former colleagues at the Pittsburgh Tribune Review. Halftime, a little bit of a buffer.
Yeah,
a little bit of a buffer for the home team, right?
Yeah.
Things looking good.
Look,
Things looking good for the home fans.
Yeah, holding up by 12 there.
You know?
One of that last quarter.
After 3, things look good, and then oh my God.
Wow.
This is like the diamond slope. This is a black diamond slope.
Yeah, look at that.
That the home team went down and crashed and burned hard.
Yeah,
this was a game, before we reveal, this was a game that Baggers fans were incredibly interested in.
Yep.
So even though I just gave it away,
let's check it out.
Check it out.
Sydney and St. Kilda. St. Kilda up by 12 after 3 and get Saints.
I mean, they're up there at that 20 line.
Yeah.
Midway through the third quarter.
Yeah.
And Sydney did what it's been doing. I can't imagine being Coach Donnie, of Donnie's disposal.
Yeah.
Again, if you're looking for X's and O's, check him out. But he's a Sydney guy. And I can't imagine he hasn't had at least 1 or 2 or 3 heart attacks this second half of the season over his Swans. I mean, this is getting ridiculous. And if you go to the fun fact, Joe,
okay,
I'll explain why. Look at this.
Jeez.
9 times they've trailed at the half.
2 on the ladder.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
Don't forget who this is.
Yeah, this is
the first contender, the number 1 contender to the top of the ladder. And they just continually dig themselves a hole. And I got to tell you, Joe, they can't do this in the finals.
No, they can't.
They can't do this.
Whole game. They're going to, or Coach Donnie's going to be awful disappointed. September.
I mean, either way, it's going to be Sydney Hawthorne, I think, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be Sydney Hawthorne. We just don't know where, but it's going to be Sydney Hawthorne. Sydney falls asleep for even a quarter against the Hawks. Bam.
Yeah, the Hawks will roll them.
Oh. They'll be playing that. Let's see, that third weekend quicker than you could spit.
That's right. They'll be playing that third weekend. They'll be probably traveling to the MCG on that quick turnaround.
Oh my God. Unbelievable. But you know what? To give them credit, because I know we've been slamming the Swans the last 6 weeks.
Yep.
Give them credit, though. They find a way. They find ways to win.
They do find ways to win.
Oh, my goodness. All right, let's go to that next one. Let's go to the next one, which at this point is probably incredibly predictable. But
yeah, you got your home team off to a good start.
Well, look at this score after 1. I mean, we are looking at
39-35. That's more than the halftime.
I was going to say we're looking at like a 156-140 game, right?
Well, one of those teams ended up hitting that mark.
Huh. I wonder which one that was.
As you see, halftime down by 18.
Yeah, but you know what? That road team, they weren't going away.
No, they weren't.
They weren't going to go into the half down like 20-25.
Yeah, and you can see
they weren't going to go down 4 or 5 goals. No.
And
it just keeps going up and up and look at the symmetry.
Wow.
Look at the symmetry in the quarters.
Yep.
6 goals. 6 goals. 6 goals. 6 goals.
Mm-hmm.
Probably no surprise who this is.
Yeah.
As we continue to celebrate just an astounding victory by the Blues over the 2-time premiers who, seem to have these hiccups. And people are trying to say, well, I don't know. Is this a concern? I mean, I don't think it is. I just think Carlton played its best game under Josh Frazier at home with a crowd that was outside itself.
Yes, it was very entertaining. They were really into this game, and they got, Brisbane had come in on a roll, and Brisbane probably was due to have a little bit of a stumble, and they end up. I'm trying to think. Look here, when was the last time they lost? I don't have it on my sheet here, but they had won they won 4 or 5, even a few more in a row.
Yeah,
really established themselves coming up the ladder. And
they had that little bit of a swoon around the midway point.
Yeah,
but they've been on the up and up. They've been stopwatch up.
Yeah, they have been
that kind of up.
Yep.
So the Blues put up a big number, so we put up a big number. Big numbers here. As Joe mentioned earlier, 16 different goal scorers for the Baggers. That ties the VFL AFL record. They tried their darndest. The radio announcers were begging for it. They wanted to see number 17. Didn't Cripps have the ball in his hands?
He did, and he kicked it, and it came up short. And, it was a big deal for him because he was playing his 250th game.
That's right.
All with Carlton. Another player on their team was also playing in his 250th, but he hadn't been a career Carlton player. But they both got carried off the field after this one.
Well, and they should have.
Yes.
In the best way possible, of course.
Yeah.
154 points, the most in 14 years for the Blues. Couple of guys that you can point to: Brody Kemp, Jagga Smith.
He was tremendous.
He's going to appear on another list later on in the show, but he was tremendous. He continues to have an unforgettable season. And then there's your note about the Lions. I mean,
17 points second half. Jeez.
I mean, at some point, don't you just? I don't want to say you quit, but don't you just put your foot off the gas just so you stay healthy?
I think that was the case, and I think they got some guys out of there. And I mean, you saw that what happened when they got steamrolled against GWS in the third quarter earlier in the season. The only thing you've got to be conscious of is the fact your percentage. You don't want to get your percentage banged up too bad by taking such a lopsided loss. So,
well, and we saw on the ladder, as we will see later in the show, we saw on the ladder that it cost Brisbane dearly.
Yep.
They fell a spot in the ladder this week because of their percentage.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a tight percentage lead that they had to begin with.
Yeah. And
they ceded that. Now they're sitting there at 5th. So
behind Adelaide, yeah.
Yeah, so Brisbane's got, and Adelaide was, later on in the weekend busy, punching Essendon in the face a couple times. So you knew that they were going to score high.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I doubt we see this happen to the Lions again the rest of this season. But I would have thought that quarter against Greater Western would have been a wake-up call. I don't know that I would have thought that they needed another one with 3 weeks to go.
Yeah, I don't think so either. It was a strange game. It really was for them. It just the way they played. They need a wake up call going into the final 3. That's for sure.
Well, I mean, if they're going to have one, you might as well have it now.
Yeah,
you might as well have your wake up call now instead of losing your first final game, and then you're done.
Yeah,
especially if they can't get back up in the top 4. You're done.
You can't get up into the 4. Right now, who's 3? I'm looking at my list here, and I'm a little confused. I'm trying to figure out who 3 is.
Well, Hawthorne's still 3, right?
Is Hawthorne 3? I thought I had them. Maybe I screwed that up. I'm looking at it here. 3rd, 4th. Maybe they are 3. I thought
Hawthorne is 3 with 58 points.
Okay.
They had that tie against Collingwood.
Yeah.
Boy, we don't talk. I don't think we talk about that enough, to be honest with you, because there's Collingwood at 9. But their percentage is better than Western's.
Yes.
They could be up at 8. Or they could only be 1 game ahead of the Blues.
Yeah.
And I think we would be talking about them again as far as that 10th spot.
Yeah.
And then do we start talking about, whether Nick Dacos is hurt because he went off the pitch for a little bit in their loss this past week. And there's rumblings about a foot injury that he had last year. Even though he came back and finished the game, you wonder how much he's banged up.
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden, this Magpies team that we thought, and remember, we kind of made a big deal about what Dacos said a couple weeks ago about him thinking they could win it all.
Yeah.
And then he put his money where his mouth was. And then they come out last week and kind of stink up the joint. So not really sure what to think about the Magpies at this point. The ladies got underway this weekend. Yes, of course. The ladies got underway with this international friendly, Australia versus Ireland. And as you can see, the Aussies won going away. Really not a challenge, although 11 people out of 10 said we got to do this every year. We got to do this every year. Jasmine Garner of the current premiers North Melbourne was best on ground. She got the medal. You see all the goal scorers there for Australia and Ireland. I invite you to pause this video and take a look at the names and check out where they're playing from. Because it's a little telling. There's a lot of North Melbourne in there. There's a lot of Brisbane in there. Attendance, just over 9,000, a sellout at the North Sydney Oval. And as you can see at the bottom, their regular season begins this weekend. Sunday morning here in the East, part of a Carlton St. Kilda doubleheader.
Ah, interesting.
Let's see, do I have that right?
So that's their week 0.
Yes, they're both at Marvel. So that is a true ladies-men's doubleheader. St. Kilda Carlton kicking things off on Sunday, and then the rest of round 1 will be the following Thursday, as you can see. Melbourne Hawthorn at Melbourne's Icon Park. Stockwatch.
Hey, we got Gordon Gecko here.
Who's that? That's Gordon Gecko. Greed is good. What does he say next? He says what? He says greed is good. Greed is necessary.
Yes.
Greed works. And I got to tell you something. When you're talking about percentages the way you do, this is exactly it.
Yep. You want to get
greed is good. Greed is necessary. Greed works.
And greed works this week in the form of a Carlton uniform. That is,
that
was not by accident.
They were the greediest team of all. It's not like they stopped kicking sand in the Lions' face.
Stock
greedy
down.
Greedy bunch of dudes. First stock down. I mean, I love you guys. I really do. I can't wait to see what your youth does in the next couple years. Really. But to fold to Richmond. I mean, I don't even care about the 8-game losing streak, to be honest with you. This is a game they should have had.
They should have. And you look at it, and they had 19 behinds. They lose by 11. They had 19 behinds. You take 4 of those, put it between the middle 2 posts, they win this game going away.
19.
Yeah.
Oh my God. 19 minors.
Yes.
Oh, West Coast, what's wrong with you?
And then another team with West in its name.
Well, I'll tell you what.
The Doggies.
Yeah. And they had to have been feeling sick after that second half against Freo.
Yeah, I mean, you only get, you get no goals in the third, only 12 points in the second half.
Yeah.
You had to feel good at halftime being tied with the top of the ladder team, but boy, they just didn't show up in the second half. And, with a team led by Marcus Bonampelli, you expect him to play better in the second half. And maybe it just goes to show he needs more help.
Yeah. Yeah. And even though they got North this week, I mean, that's not an easy game.
No.
Not an easy game at all. So hopefully better things in store for the Doggies. Who's next? Oh, I'm going to let you talk about this one. Boy,
The famed
Boy,
Collingwood
I imagine there's plenty you can say about this one.
Well, first of all, by saying that because I don't have the Watch AFL app or I don't have a team membership, I rely on the cable systems in the United States to provide me with the game. I heard they're going to do this new Collingwood specific entrance where they were going to both teams come out on the field right as the game started. They were going to not have the warm-ups on the field. They were going to do it a special way, like old school, do the coin flip indoors before the game. I turned the TV on and didn't see any of it. They showed some fireworks. They showed players on the field. They threw the ball, or they threw the ball up, and the way the game went. So I was disappointed by that. But it also, not for that reason, Collingwood just came out flat.
No.
They trailed 32-8 after the first quarter, had one goal. So for all the hubbub about this entrance, it didn't translate into them getting out to a half start. So maybe they want to rethink this future home games and maybe go back to the old way of doing things, because they just didn't show up, and they got behind early against Geelong and never had a chance to catch up.
They were down 24 at the end of one. They lost by 25.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the game right there.
Yeah,
I am oversimplifying it. I realize that.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the game right there.
And
there's really nothing more you can say.
They got, I don't know if it was 12, maybe they got within. They never really cut it that close to where Geelong was really that concerned about it. And it was just a poor start the whole way around. It's just what caught them.
And those Magpie fans got the scare of their life. I mentioned this earlier, the scare of their life, seeing Nick Dacos come off the field in the first quarter and receive medical attention, presumably on an injury he's had before. So, I mean, my God. And again, you are cursed on this show, and it works both ways. Whenever we talk you up, something happens to bring you down. Whenever we stick you in a commode, something good happens. Yeah. There's really no rhyme or reason to what happens when this show gets involved. But some concerning signs is what I want to say. Some concerning signs for a Magpies team that honestly looks like it could make a charge, but it's got to get consistent and it's got to stay healthy.
Yep, that's for sure. And speaking of commodes.
So a little special dispensation. And I know, maybe can I let's see. Can I get that
the tickers.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to. Yeah. Let's see here. There we go. So this week we have a dishonorable mention. And that is our own Joe Rudder. As you can see, is in an old style referee's uniform, motioning for a minor, which is all he deserves after what he pulled this weekend.
I don't think what I did was that bad, but you obviously disagree. And to let the viewers and listeners in.
Well, let me tell my side of the story.
Okay.
Because you were ignoring everything.
Yes.
So I get up. I was not going to be up for 5:35 first bounce.
Yeah.
I get up 7:35. They're in the third quarter, and Carlton's up. Carlton's up against the two-time premiers. And I know Joe's watching. I know he's watching this game. So I start texting him. And he's not answering my texts. And I'm thinking, oh, okay. He's superstitious. He doesn't want to ruin the vibe. He wants to hang on for dear life until the final horn. I get it. Then I get a text from his wife that says, he's not answering your texts because he's still in the second quarter. How can you be in the second quarter during a momentous victory like this? You can watch the rest of the game anytime.
Well,
why aren't you celebrating this in real time? I could not believe this. I could not believe that this is the tact you would take. I put you in the commode.
My counter to that is I awakened not on time. I awakened later, probably about 6 to 6:30, somewhere in that time frame. I figured I want to start watching from the beginning. I don't want to be spoiled. I kept the phone on silent, didn't look at it, and I was going through. And I heard the text, and I knew it had to be you that early in the morning. And I didn't know if that was good news or bad news. I refused to look. And at one point told my wife, look, just text him. I'll get back to him when I get caught up. As they pulled away, I started zipping through a little more. Now, the good thing about being paused on DVR, I can zip through the first quarter break. I can zip through the halftime and get caught up closer that way. Once they got comfortably ahead, I felt okay enough to respond to your text. But I was not going to. I was not going to risk looking at your text to get spoiled on what was happening in front of my face.
So it was superstition.
Well, in a way, yes. And there was no truth that I had my Carlton Guernsey pillow by my side while I was clutching while I was watching the outcome.
No truth to that at all, I'm sure.
But I was drinking a beverage from my Captain Cripps.
Of course.
Yes.
I would hope so.
Yes.
I would hope so. The only other thing I'm going to say, Joe, is that since I stuck you in the commode, you're probably going to win Powerball Wednesday.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah, make sure you play. Make sure you play, and you will find out that, I've done you a favor.
And I'll offer you some monies, human monies, if that happens. Let's move on.
You can give me some human monies.
That's right. Sam Lawler from Richmond.
Yeah, talk to me.
What's that?
Talk to me.
Yeah, Sam Lawler from Richmond. Going into Sunday, didn't think we would be putting anybody from this game on the list. But the way he kind of played, he had 3 goals and a behind for Richmond, kind of sealed that win with a late goal to put him up by 11. He kind of represented everything Richmond did well in this game. And a young player, former, I think, top draft pick for them, kind of shows the future of Richmond and showed up big for this game. So I think it was only appropriate to recognize somebody from this game because, it was a much-needed win for Richmond.
Did I read he was 4th overall?
He might have.
I mean, that's how high a pick he was. That's how highly regarded he was.
Yeah.
I think that's true. Yeah. Well, good for the Tigers. Like I said, it doesn't look like they're going to be the spoon this year. It looks like it's going to fall to the Bombers anyway, which, given the way that their year has gone, maybe that is just the natural order of things. Yeah. So anyway,
number 2.
Next one on the stock watch. We had to get somebody from the Blues, right?
Yeah, and, for all the love Jagger Smith got, he got a perfect 10 in the coaches' voting. Had a tremendous game, 29 disposals. Yeah. I'm sure he's going to make Coach Donnie's all-week team.
I would hope so.
Yes, but for me, it was Brody Kemp. The guy's been plagued by, I don't know if the Aussie footy term is the yips, but this guy just does not have consistency putting the goal between the 2 middle posts. He's always veering him off to the left or right. And I think that's been the drawback on him throughout his career. Keeping him from being a star is becoming a consistent goal scorer. Well, he put 5 through in this game against Brisbane. Was the top goal scorer. Just had a tremendous effort. So I thought he should be acknowledged.
Yeah, good for him. Yeah. Good for him. And again, I don't know that, and until this weekend when it's Saints and Blues and they finally, match up and crack it, I don't know that you can say enough about what the Blues did to Brisbane last weekend. That's for sure. But not the top on the stock watch. Here's the top on the stock watch.
Riley Thilthorpe. Now, again, they were playing Essendon, so you got to take a little bit of a grain of salt. But he also had 5 goals. 5 goals. He had 15 disposals, 10 marks. Was the catalyst for Adelaide in this win that helped them regroup after a loss the previous week. And again, they beat up on Essendon, but he had a monster game for them, and he deserves to be mentioned as well.
Well, I mean, the Crows did what they had to do, and they got themselves into the top 4. So I don't think there are any apologies they're going to make for beating up on the Bombers. That's for sure. Yeah. And Riley Thilthorpe, another one that had a perfect 10 score.
Oh, he did
this week in the coaches poll, and we're going to see that here in just a few minutes as we get to the close of this week's show and this week's Love Fest on our baggers. Listen to me, our baggers. My God, what has happened here? Although I feel like because I've been pimping them for so long, I should get a little bit of credit
jumping up on that bandwagon.
Well, I'm telling you, again, here's my love.
Yes,
I will never. They have let me down a couple times, but talking about the baggers, they will never let you down. And I'll tell you what, boy, are they putting your fan base on one hell of a ride
Yes, they are.
here as we get into August.
And speaking of your club, I mean,
Yeah.
aren't you starting to get the feeling it's going to be Carlton, Melbourne?
Well,
into the wild card round.
Was it Fox Footy or 8 or 7 that had Melbourne Carlton?
Yeah, it could happen.
Melbourne Carlton as one of the wild card games. Yeah. And as you see on the right, Melbourne may start its slide this week against Freo. So we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what happens. I don't think they're gonna go down without a fight. But you see what the Dockers have done lately in the second half of games, and you just wonder, wow, what's the lockdown gonna look like this week? I don't know. Like you said, though, games at the MCG, these are pretty good there this year. And like you said, should be a good crowd. I'll tell you, I'm going to be disappointed if it's not a good crowd.
I would,
to be honest with you, even though it's a Saturday afternoon game there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'll be surprised if it's not a good crowd. Just one more time through the round 21 results. There's Geelong's win over sleepy Collingwood in that first quarter, and basically telling me once again this week that my parlay is done for. But you know what? That was the least of my worries on the tips, as it were. Dockers' big win. There's that Saints loss that we illustrated earlier. Hawks win again. Hawks keep rolling. Greater Western. Probably haven't said enough about them. They're hanging in there. They needed that one against a Port team that, they're fighting. They're fighting. There's a ticker again, by the way. I almost forgot to put that back on. Hey, get 20 minutes to put that ticker together. I want to see it run as much as possible.
Heck yeah.
Greater Western's still in it. There's the Blues giving the Lions the blues. Oh, by the way, did you see the little chatter on the days remaining to the grand final? Singing the blues.
That's right.
Everybody's singing well, not everybody. Not everybody's singing the blues. A lot of Saints fans they're singing the blues a different way, I guess.
Yeah, they're not singing
and they may be singing the blues a different way again next week.
That's
waka,
right.
waka, waka. There's that Richmond win against West Coast. Again, some of the pictures, some of the stills and video. I mean, they were beside themselves, the Eagles, beside themselves losing that game.
As they should.
Absolutely beside themselves. The D's handing Christian Petrarca and the Suns another loss.
Petrarca 0.0. He was a
like right out of Animal House.
That's right. 0.0.
Was that Bluto Blatarski's GPA?
Yes.
Right? 0.
And it was followed by fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
Which a lot of people in this country have disproved. But I digress. I'm not going to name any names, but I digress.
And as somebody else noted on our Twitter feed, which you have mentioned before, maybe he's concentrating too much on his cooking show.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
Maybe so. But I'll tell you what, to come out of a game against your former team, this is the second time they played this year.
Yeah.
He missed the first one with that hammy, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
To go 0-0. And I think he only had 14 disposals. I mean, he was
quiet.
I'm not going to say he was invisible, but again, he made the effort to put what should be a powerful lineup together. And they did score 105.
Yeah.
But for him to go 0-0, come on. Adelaide doing what they needed to do against Essendon, allowing them to jump Brisbane in the ladder and get that coveted fourth spot.
Yep.
So this week, the AFL says Western and North were your Thursday night game, which actually is a pretty good game. I think this is decent to start the weekend. I mean, there's been criticism about, the scheduling of games, in many ways. who's playing on Thursday and Friday, the overlaps all over the place. This is not a bad one. Doggy, 16.5-point favorite.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, this is one of the big swingers from yesterday. A lot of these games swung like 3-4 points in the last 24 hours. I think this was one of them. I think this was like 12.5 yesterday.
Maybe there's some injury news that came out in these games.
Yeah, it could be.
Maybe the odds makers are getting a bit of a feel for it. I mean, to me, the game, the one I'd like to get up for is the one on Friday. The Brisbane Hawthorn game.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, if it wasn't for the baggers, this would have been 3-4. This would have been probably go a long way to seeing who gets the double elimination.
Exactly.
But now Brisbane's got some work to do, but you're right. The Lions, where?
The Gabba.
Yeah.
Can't go against them at the Gabba.
I'm thinking this is home team, what do I want to say?
Advantage.
Yeah, with the points, 4.5.
Yeah, I would think so as well.
Yeah, and they're stinging. I mean, of all the times to play Brisbane this year, this is not the week to do it.
No.
This is not the week to do it on their home ground.
Yeah, not when they got so much to play for. Chris
Hawthorn?
Fagan will have them ready to go.
Oh, I'd love to know what he said to them after that game. Would love to know what the actuals. I know what he said in the presser afterward.
Yeah.
And he was Chris Fagan through and through, right? This guy is as level head. I mean, nothing gets him too high, nothing gets him too low. I would love to know, though, what that speech was. Not that, I mean, do you really need to give them a speech after a beating like that?
I don't think you have to say
knowing you've got 3 left in the home and away.
Maybe you save your speech for the first day of practice of the week, but yeah, there's not much you could have said.
D's Dockers, Friday night. D's now a 13.5-point dog. I think it was 9.5 yesterday. Not a lot of belief in the D's, and I get that. I think there's still a lot of wait and see with these guys.
But they are at home, which makes a difference.
They are at home, and they've been very, 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 very successful at the home of the Niners and Rams. Sydney and Port. Sydney gets a home game, 35.5-point favorites.
I don't have much hope for Port anymore.
I don't either. I'm with you. I think they're pretty much out of gas, right? Geelong could clinch. Could clinch Housen this week.
Yeah, 64.5. That's you makes you want to think about taking the points, but Essendon just so cute.
I don't know. I know like 5-6 weeks ago I would have agreed with you. Like, wow, that's too much.
Yeah.
That's too much. But yeah. Right
Aside
now,
from that week against GWS, they haven't done anything to make for that.
No, you almost think they, wasted every last bit of energy for that.
Yeah.
And that was the season. I don't know. 64.5 though is I don't think it's we've seen a 70 this year, haven't we?
I think we have, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not the biggest line we've seen this year, but it's up there, that's for sure. Another big line, Adelaide and Richmond, 57.5.
My thought is Richmond just maybe left it all out there in this last one. And I'd be tempted to take Adelaide and give the points in this one.
Yeah. I can understand you there. Giants 16.5 against Gold Coast. Will they win again this year? Will they find an opportunity to play spoiler? Here's one.
Yeah.
Here's what they can pretty much knock Greater Western out of the conversation.
Yeah, and most confounding. Two of the most confounding teams in the league this year matching up against each other. I don't know. I honestly don't know which way this one could go.
It's hard to understand. You're right. Hard to understand either of these teams right now. Although, again, I was worried about it last week. Surely Gold Coast can't lose 10 in a row. Surely they can't lose 11 in a row, can they? I don't know. More and more I'm thinking, I think they can.
Yeah, they probably could.
I think they can finish the season on a 13-game losing streak. That might be more surprising than if Carlton makes the finals.
Exactly.
You know? West Coast, 21.5-point dogs against another team that could qualify housing this week. Our Magpies.
I like the Magpies in this one. I think they're, although they got to travel to West Coast, I think they should win this one and cover that spread.
I think so too. And then, like I said, not just the game of the weekend, I think. This is the game of the year.
Yeah.
This is the game of the year. Given the stories, given the context, given the paths that these two teams have taken to match up on a Sunday evening.
I think it's going to be close. I think Carlton can cover that 6.5. I'm not sure how I'm going to go on it, but I know one thing: I will not take Sydney in the points. I'll either leave it alone or take Carlton.
Okay. Okay. I was wondering, and I don't know anything, okay? Shooting blanks. I was wondering if there's nothing else going on, if they move that to the MCG.
I don't know if they can.
Because Marvel's like, what, 48?
I don't know how they could at this late juncture.
Well, I mean, they're not that far away from each other.
Oh, I know, but you have to do the whole ticket redistribution and all that stuff in your suites. And
I mean, I guess, but that was my first thought when I saw Marvel. I thought, wow.
Yeah, that'd be.
I mean, it's a hot ticket to begin with.
Yeah.
You know?
Pack Marvel and hope for the best.
You're like, Robert, I got other things to worry about this week than where people are sitting. I need a victory this week because, as you can see on the ladder here, there's your Blues. Sitting at 10. We have had little movement the past couple weeks. Boy, that changed this week. Arrows everywhere.
Oh, that did change, yeah.
Look at Geelong.
Jumping 2 spots, yeah.
Yeah. They were a resident of the top 6 for the whole first half. And then, like a lot of these teams have done, they had their little swoon.
Mm-hmm.
Now here they are back on the up and up. And you know, as much as I kind of dog Collingwood right now, goes without saying, that was an impressive victory by the Cats. And now you're starting to wonder, okay, where are they as finals nears? Right?
Yeah, and are they going to be able to get healthy enough and get some of their guys back? Jeremy Cameron being one of them, which, as we talked about off air, I found it interesting that the great Jezza did not attend the game and watch it. He opted to stay on his farm with his daughter and make a campfire. And he took video of him sitting around a campfire, and he had a hashtag on there on his video of "can't watch." So I guess he superstitious enough, didn't want to watch the game, didn't even attend it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. You know, I'm also seeing some quotes this week of a complaint we've had for most of this season regarding tampering.
Yes.
And I'm starting to see some quotes, some sour faces about one guy being at dinner for one team and then playing for another team the next night.
Yeah.
That was paraphrased out the wazoo, but that was the spirit of the comment.
Mm-hmm.
And now, I mean, I'm sure this is not the first comment to be made about this. It's not going to be the last comment to be made about this. But I'm coming around to you, Joe. I mean, I really didn't care before. I thought it was a nice little coinky-dink of you know, how they run their league.
Yeah.
Tell you what, though. now that my team is getting closer to a finals berth, now that your team is getting closer to a finals berth, where there should be no distractions, no matter what Josh Frazier said this week, by the way.
Yes.
Should we mention that?
Go
Gonna
ahead.
make a decision this week
It's supposed to, and
on the coaching position as far as his interest.
Yeah, and I'm hoping whatever he does, they do it behind closed doors. The public doesn't find out about it, and he focuses on this game this weekend. And if they win, maybe he can let it loose. But he should be the coach next year. I firmly believe that.
Do you think it was the euphoria of the day that let it that I don't want to say he let it slip, but he's been so good about not talking about it.
Yeah.
And then after the biggest win of the year, the absolute biggest scalp they've had this year, by an incredible margin, at home, in front of, it's been, those fans were rabid. That's where they were. And then he kind of lets this slip. And I thought to myself, whoa, bro, you got 3 games to go.
Yeah. I think maybe he let it slip just because he knew he answered it every week. And if he doesn't say something, he's going to keep you facing it. Now, hopefully, he gets it out of the way, focuses on what happens this week. Then they address it after this game coming up.
Freo at 72 points, 3 games clear of Sydney again. They can finish no worse than second. They will clinch the minor premiership with a victory over the D's. Anything else on here you want to talk about?
Just the,
like I said,
the shift at the bottom.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And then,
new spoon.
Yeah, new spoon.
New spoon is the old spoon. Right?
Yeah, and I don't know if that's going to change. I mean, I don't know if there's a winnable game there for us and then the rest of the year. I don't remember who they are.
I don't think so. I don't think either of them have winnable games.
Yeah.
The rest of the year. So I think we have our wooden spoon. You have to bring your wooden spoon back out for next week.
I have a feeling 15 through 18 or 17, 15 through 18 is going to be the same.
Yeah, they're probably locked in, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
So yeah. So you're good, get that wooden spoon out. I mean, that's a prop. That's a prop. Nick Daco's up to 130. Bontempelli, not listed this week. How about that?
He was not listed.
He stayed at 106.
Okay. Well,
he stayed at 106 this week.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Freo had him in cuffs, and they weren't the fuzzy ones. Wasn't having fun with those.
And your boy Maxey jumped up there, the third.
And you can see why there, if you can read what's on the left, and I'm not so sure you can. I know it's small. But I decided that because there were 8 perfect 10s this week, then maybe we should list them. I'm sure Maxey being on there had no bearing on my decision to make this list. No. But Maxey is now third. Tells you what kind of year he's had, the ageless wonder. Took over again in the fourth quarter against Gold Coast. Pretty much said, we're not, you know what? We were down in this game. We got the lead. We're not giving it up. We're not losing this game.
And that's when you want your captain and your best player to step up. Most reliable guy, and that's what he's done.
That's who you want him to be. For a team that, they're not supposed to be here. I readily admit that.
Yeah.
They're not supposed to be here. They might be the best story if it wasn't for the Blues.
Oh, I would think so. And I still think Stephen King's coach of the year.
Well, I was just going to say, the coaching name you would be hearing would not be Josh Frazier.
Yeah.
It'd be Stephen King.
Yes.
And the job he's doing. And that shouldn't, you're right, that should not be ignored. Should not be ignored at all. Jai Newcomb is on that list for the Hawks, the captain. He got a 10. There's Jaga. Jag with his 10. There's Riley Thilthorpe.
Yeah, another one.
Who we mentioned earlier in Stockwatch. And actually, we put him on Stockwatch before this coach's list came out.
Exactly.
So to know that he got a perfect 10, I think Joe knows what he's talking about.
Sometimes. Blind squirrel, right?
Well, I mean, we shoot a lot of blanks. There's no doubt about it. But, we try to pay attention, right?
We do. And my boy Charlie still holding on to his trying to get the Coleman medal again.
Well, one more thing before we go over there.
Okay.
Max Holmes at the bottom.
Yeah.
At 64, not making the list, Keziah Pickett.
Oh, poor Causey. Well, I immediately
Sorry,
thought
buddy. Sorry, buddy. I tried.
I thought we were talking about our buddy, and then I looked up and saw he's at 67.
Yes.
Our buddy Bailey Smith.
Oh, yes. He's still hanging in there.
Yeah.
He's still hanging in there. So
I'm surprised Max Holmes and Zach Butters. I mean, they're still on this list, which shows, how well they've done, but they've been battling injuries and haven't been playing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
They're when these last 3 weeks, both of those guys probably dropped down or
I would think by the end we're going to be full 70s at least.
Yeah.
Right on this list.
Yeah.
And again, although we've been saying it and now it's happened. Nick Dacos, you got to stay healthy.
Yes.
You got to stay healthy. 24 points in 3 weeks is a lot to ask. But still.
Yeah.
You got to stay healthy. And I am sure the AFLCA Champion Player of the Year Award and the Brownlow, for that matter, are secondary compared to dragging the Magpies kicking and screaming into the finals healthy so they can do some damage.
Yeah.
But he's got to stay healthy.
He does.
He can't come off in the first quarter and get his foot wrapped or whatever it was. And, the radio people are going, the sideline reporter, she's going apoplectic because, it's Nick Dacos, for crying out loud. Meanwhile, they're getting their, tail kicked in by Geelong in the first quarter. They don't even show up.
Maybe
he's the only one that showed up after that entrance, and then he gets hurt.
Yeah, maybe I got to listen to the radio feed more often because I didn't get that kind of coverage off the.
I'll tell you what, I give props to ABC Radio and their coverage of games. There are like 7 or 8 options.
Yeah.
I mean, not that many. Well, maybe there's like 7 options on the AFL.com.au app.
Yeah.
To listen to these games for free. Costs you not a cent. And I got to tell you, the radio sides of these contests are about as entertaining as they come.
The times I've listened, it's
about as entertaining as they come. And with apologies to the gentleman who called Carlton Brisbane, they were not the A team of ABC.
Yeah.
But the way they handled that fourth quarter, especially when the Blues were going for that record of 17 goal scorers in one game, their description and their reaction was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. So even in games where the margin is 70-some points, you're going to be entertained.
Yeah.
You're going to be entertained. If you can't watch it, log on to the app. The app is free. The games to listen to are free. And it's a wonderful way to get yourself connected into some cracking contests.
And you're guaranteed on the radio side to hear the victory song in the locker room.
Very, very, very good point.
Yes.
You're not going to be Fox Footy cutting anything off. You're not only are you going to hear the victory song in the locker room, you're going to hear about a half hour of post game.
Yeah.
I mean, they're pretty involved. Pretty involved.
Yeah, and they have interviews. It's
some of it you're not going to agree with. Some of it you're going to be calling your friend Joe during the weekend and saying, I can't believe they said this. Because, I forget the fact that I'm a Yank shooting blanks. They probably know better than me. Whatever. That's fine. All right, let's get to your goal scorers, Joe. Because we're coming up here on 4 hours.
It seems like it.
Well, and there's Charlie. Although we saw stuff written this week. Think that the Wizard has a chance to rip the Coleman from Charlie's hands.
Yeah, I don't know who they have coming down the stretch. We knew that they had a lighter schedule. We mentioned this a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
So maybe he takes advantage of that and blows up through there.
Yeah.
Charlie's got a 5-goal lead on him. He's 4 ahead of Ben King. Gold Coast is tough because Gold Coast is winning, not scoring a ton of points. So, you really got to have a big game to catch, make up that difference with 3 to go. Yeah, Charlie. I mean, they're saying Nick, the Wizard Watson can pull it off. I don't know. We'll have to see. That's it's a lot of ground.
And look who appears at fourth.
Jack Gunston.
Because he just won't stop.
No.
Tell you what, for as much challenge they have, I wouldn't be surprised if he becomes their most important part.
It could be.
Because I just feel like he's just another foot kind of off to the side that you can call in and rely on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know? I mean, you can't cover everyone, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you could try. Apparently, if you're playing Gold Coast, you can. You can cover everyone and have a ham sandwich. Especially if you're guarding Christian Petrarca. Well, yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Dayco's leading in disposals with a very nice, very evil number. Sheasel, Clayton, Oliver, Bailey, Smith, our favorite player. Marks are about the same. Score involvements are about the same. Maybe next year, we were talking about this. Maybe next year that bottom category we rotate. Because there are about what? 36 statistics.
Oh, they got so many. It's
that the footy people follow.
Yeah.
And algorithm it into their fantasy points formula. Not like it's any different here in the States. I get that.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I guess it's
I'm still kind of bemused by the fact that goals and minors are not the most important thing. I mean, God, we could do another 4-hour show about that probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
You have any final thoughts for this week?
My final thought is more in the form of a question to you.
Oh,
are we
good? Because then my final thought, which I don't have, might be an answer.
Are we?
So I appreciate you bailing me out.
Breakfast casserole for the Sunday showdown this week.
Oh, I'm seriously leaning toward it.
Okay.
I'm seriously leaning toward bringing the breakfast casserole, and also bringing the TikTok doctored cinnamon rolls, where you kind of take a tube of regular cinnamon rolls, and you do a little Carlton magic, you do a little Melbourne magic, all that magic they've had this year, and they end up like the size of Cinnabons.
Nice.
So that'll be for Lori.
She will be appreciative because she's a little down in the dumps because Carlton whipped up on her team this week.
Yeah.
She was stunned to hear that.
Was she stunned more that they lost or stunned by the score?
I think the score.
Yeah.
And the fact, I guess it came on the week that we got our 4-year-old grandson his first Guernsey, and
I was just gonna say you got to tell this story.
I wish I had.
You got to tell the story of who likes wearing it and who doesn't.
He likes wearing it. Well, he wants to play in the dirt with it, which I'm trying to shy him away from. But he wanted to pick. I said I was going to get him a Guernsey. I said, "Who do you like?" He goes, "Well, who's Grammy's team?" I said, "Brisbane." He goes, "Okay, let's get hers." He likes red. He likes blue because he's a Batman, Superman, Spider-Man type of kid. So I got him this. He didn't want my colors. He didn't want to be Carlton. Hey, that's fine. I showed it to him. He thought it was cool. Put it on for a few minutes. Took it off. His sister tried it on. Said, "Nah, I don't think so." She took it right off. She's a girly girl. She's 6. So, but then he put it back on and wanted to go outside and play in the dirt. And I'm like, just don't get it too dirty if you're playing in the dirt with it. So I don't think he did. But he wanted it washed immediately. So we'll see.
It would be like just like a real Guernsey.
Yeah.
You get dirty.
Yeah.
You get dirty when you're, getting your face pushed in the mud by the baggers.
That's right.
Boy, what a game this is going to be Sunday. I'm excited already.
Yeah.
I'm like way more excited about Carlton St. Kilda than I am for Melbourne Freo, which probably isn't saying much. I mean, there's every indication that despite Melbourne having the home ground, that they get humbled a little bit this week. Maybe not as great as 12 wins, right? Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
But you also got the 11:15 kickoff, so if you're awake on Friday night, you can at least
tell you what. That helps.
Yeah,
that helps. I'll tell you what. Got the 11:15 kickoff for that game Friday night, and then Sunday morning 5:35 here on the East.
Yes.
For the Blues and Saints. I mean that makes for prime watching.
It does, and then at least it's not Friday, Saturday, or Saturday versus Sunday. You got a little bit of break in between, so you can rest up.
And they could be overlapping too. And I can't tell you how much of a cow I would have if that were the case.
Yeah.
Anything else, Joe?
That's it.
That's our show for today. If you're watching us, you're probably watching us on YouTube at WTF What the Footy. You can also find us on Twitter, WTF What the Footy, where I put my tips every week. Again, I think I was 3-6 this week. Something like that. But I think I'm still, 9 games over for the season. So that gives me,
nothing to sneeze at.
That's nothing to sneeze at, but that also means I got 3 weeks, to bring it back down to 500. We'll see what happens. I mean, last 3 out of the last 4 weeks I've been horrible. But anyway, we're on Twitter X at WTF What the Footy. We are on Facebook at WTF What the Footy. If you're into the podcast station, we're on Apple Podcasts and Spotify at WTF What the Footy. And we are also on Instagram, where after ignoring it for weeks and weeks and weeks, would you say that's where we're most active?
It's our most, it's our most active.
Well, that's where we get our most engagement, right?
Yeah, most engaged social media platform. I think we got 50 subscribers or followers last week. So
yeah. And we keep coming to us and keep giving us your smoke.
Yeah,
we enjoy your smoke. We would love to talk about and respond to your smoke. Every Monday night, Tuesday morning when this episode drops, so you can catch us on Instagram as well. And like we said, like us and subscribe. Make us very, very happy. Game of the week this week, one more time. Sunday morning here on the East Coast, 5:30 or 5:35. What was it? 5:20, actually.
5:20. Oh, okay.
5:20 a.m. here on the East Coast. Game of the year, St. Kilda, Carlton. I'm assuming we'll talk about that
I think
next week.
We might even have to have an instant reaction after that one.
Well, you know what? I was thinking about that. If we haven't sickened ourselves on breakfast casserole and, faux Cinnabon cinnamon rolls, maybe we do that. For Joe Rutter, I'm Robert Gregory. See you next time.
Showtime.
1:32.
Jeez.
We're getting so good at this.
I knew.
41 slides.
I was like, oh, man.
Oh. You know what, though? I was thinking about this. I don't care so much now that you're snipping up the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you definitely lose context, I think, on what we're talking about. But I got no problem with people just wanting 2 minutes at a time.
And it's getting engagement.
Exactly. And if that's how it's going to be, we'll do an hour 32. Yeah. That's more stuff to snip.
Yeah. The most popular one was this thing on Carlton last week, which I think I kept it to a minute and a half, and it's gotten over 5,000 now.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
maybe
interesting.
Maybe it's the Carlton thing. I don't know.
Maybe.
I thought maybe the shorter ones, but some of the short ones I've posted get minimal traction, so I don't know.
I honestly, I can't figure out how the algorithm is working on this.
Yeah, because the second most popular one from last week was 2 minutes 40 seconds, I think, and it did well. But anything over 3 minutes, they get nervous. They tell you, and I think anything over 3 minutes, it doesn't go out to the whole Instagram sphere or YouTube sphere or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Social sphere.
Yeah.
Just as long as it's not a bunch of bots watching us. Exactly. I need real people. I need more Stewies to put me in my place.
Well, we're getting a lot of likes, and I think we've got about 100 likes on the Carlton video.
That's awesome.
We've got some comments, so
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. 3 weeks to go, Joey.
We're getting there. We got to.
Can you believe we've done 22 episodes?
It's crazy.
I have to delete more and more episodes every week just to fit this one on.
Well, apparently that's why I couldn't put anything on our page
because you still have last week's stuff on there.
I had 2 weeks worth of graphics.
Oh, you had 2 weeks.
Yeah. I hadn't cleared them out of the cache.
StreamYard, help us out, huh?
Yeah.
You know what? We got to bring up. We got to bring them up more during the show. Yeah. At the top, actually, and say, this is episode 23 for August 10th, 2026, powered by StreamYard.
Exactly.
Will that get us anything free?
Probably not. Well, we already got stuff for free. The platform.
Yeah, but everybody gets this for free.
I know.
We're the only ones, though, to throw a Danhausen graphic on there.
Exactly.
I'm pretty confident in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so, too.
So
you might want to hit that little button.
You didn't
for 136. We're scare people off when they see.
You didn't tag Danhausen, did you?
I didn't know how on Instagram.
Oh, on Instagram. That's right. It's not Twitter.
But I think did I put it on Twitter? I may have. I don't.
Because I can give you a better version of it, and you can post it again if you want.
Yeah, if you want to.
And tag him on Twitter.
Yeah, I'll try.
And then we wait for the cease and desist letter.
Yeah. True.
Say goodnight, Joey.
Good night.